So the first step I always run through with a customer, even in the sales process at a high level, and then in a more in-depth manner once we're actually onboarding, is to scope the ICP and to tell me, what's your ideal record? What's your ideal company or contact look like? Why? And for a company, most companies that I work with already have a very clear definition of what they care about. If they don't, I help them understand what that looks like by asking them questions like, what problems do you solve? What symptoms of pain can you spot? Uh, with a digital footprint that we could find, we could scrape, we could enrich to tell you that information. And we build out this sort of perfect vision of what does an ideal customer look like, and then we map those data points to properties in HubSpot. So we can define every single data point that they need on the company object, on the contact object, on a custom object if they need. So, but we now have a software that we built to do this that integrates with HubSpot. It can sync down their properties and do this automatically. But when we started out, we used this sheet. It's actually built by a customer of ours, and we helped him enhance it and work with it. Essentially, this is a field mapping sheet where we define every single property, which I'll go through in a second, what the property is, the property type, the output values in HubSpot, especially important for custom output values that are using like AI prompts and whatnot, overwrite rules, and how we're going to enrich every single property. We typed up and collaborated in the sheet around how we're going to actually source this data. We defined custom re-enrichment rules and overwrite rules. Got very, very complicated. But at a high level, what we're doing here is, we're mapping everything into the CRM. Starting from the business perspective, what's the business problem we're trying to solve? We want to know more about our customers. We want to enrich information about them so we can better qualify them for inbound lead routing, or just so we know who our best customers are for an ICP study, or we're trying to surface the best accounts for our sales team to go and attack. They don't have to waste time on manual research. That's what we're doing over here. So in this sheet, just to show you what we have every single property. I'll use this property specifically as an example. This is a really, really good, I think, actually this property here is a really good example. It's the company type. And it's for our customer TrackSuit. TrackSuit is a brand tracking company, and we just published a case study with them showing this off, which is really exciting. Essentially, one of their most important properties to know is a company a B2C, a business to consumer brand. Think Coca-Cola or Nike, because these brands, essentially, what does TrackSuit do? They sell always on brand tracking. And so they want to sell to business to consumer companies that sell to consumers. If they're a B2B company, it's not as good of a fit for their software. So that question, is this company B2B or B2C, is pretty much impossible to do accurately or to gain from a traditional data vendor like ZoomInfo at the moment. And it would require a human being to sort of go through each website and decide based on what they do to think about, okay, what does the company do? Who do they sell to? Okay, they probably sell to consumers, they're a bank, so they're B2C, whatever. Now with AI, you can do that automatically. And so we created an AI prompt. We used Claygen. We scoped it out right here. And we use multiple AI prompts to figure this out. But essentially, we have these custom output values, B2C, B2B, both, or agency or other. And we mapped it to HubSpot. These are the output values in HubSpot. This is important to know because we have to tell the AI prompt, for example, to output one of these values and have it be exact. Otherwise, it won't integrate properly. So knowing all this information is very important. We mapped overwrite rules. We mapped also how often to enrich. Like this, for example, we're only enriching one time and never re-enriching because this is not going to change for a company. Whereas other properties like the job seniority might be re-enriched on a regular basis, right? Or the phone number validation or email validation. So all of this is done up front. We're essentially talking to the customer to understand, okay, who do you sell to? What do you want to know about them? We're defining it. We're mapping all these fields in a Google Sheet, or in our case, we're integrating directly to HubSpot to sync down the properties, but it's basically this in an automated fashion. We are then defining each property, the output values, everything, defining the enrichment solution design, how we're going to build this, whether we're going to use an enrichment provider in Clay, a custom API, or web scraping or AI, whatever it is. We then build the enrichment functions in Clay and make sure that it's accurate against a sample set of records before we pass it as good to go and use it in our broader enrichment model for the whole database. So this is step one. This is ICP mapping. It's really, really important. And it is something that I think you should start with too, because this is going to be the foundation of your entire enrichment project. So don't waste time here. This should be the bulk of your work. I would say maybe 40% of your time should go here, and probably like maybe 50% or 60%, honestly. And the rest is just going to be building in Clay. The more time you spend up here doing this properly, the easier it will be to build in Clay and the better your results will be.